Welcome to another Expert Exchange. I'm so excited about bringing Fern and Sarah from iPet Network here to Canine Care Hub for this Expert Exchange. They are powerhouse women. Your skill set and what your efforts in the pet industry are about bringing skills and confidence to the industry. So you're making massive movements. How did iPet Network come about? Tell us a little bit about yourselves. Oh, I'm so excited for this.
Well, off the floor then. Yeah. Brilliant. Well, it's a good one because actually we've done this quite a few times now, because actually the backstory for us is probably the most important thing to kind of understand where we are today. So Sarah and I joined forces 7 or 8 years ago now, but previous to that, we both had kind of like different places and different career paths. So if I'll go and then we'll interject as to where we join up. So I started my career off in marketing and sales, but really I always wanted to work with animals. And my mum and dad didn't really kind of let me go down that route, mainly because at the time you were either kind of a vet or you worked in kennels or on the yard with the horses, and there was no kind of in between. And academically, I was quite strong, although I wasn't vet status. So I kind of went off into a different world. But at the grand old age of 22, I decided that working for other people was not for me. And actually, genuinely, I was in a sales role that really kind of got burnout. And I decided I got this Rottweiler puppy who I absolutely adored, and I just wanted to play with her all the time. But at the time, my job was going through a few changes and I was moving offices. And I went to see what was a doggy daycare centre. So this was back in 2007. So long time ago. And doggy daycares weren't as well known as they are today. So I went and visited this one that was literally a polytunnel in the middle of a field. And I was like, this is my calling. I could do this. This is brilliant. So I then went and spoke to my mum and dad and say, cap in hand at 22, and said, look, I'm going to give up my job, risk my mortgage, and I'm going to start this business. But this business is brilliant. And I needed 7 dogs a day to pay my mortgage. And the daycare kind of grew from strength to strength, and it ended up being 100 dogs a day, and it was massive. And we were Cheshire's first licensed doggy daycare. But during that journey, it actually came about that there was more to kind of offer, as it wasn't just the daycare service. And I went to train to be a dog groomer, because it naturally supported what was happening there. But honestly, I didn't get a great experience with that. And I had to go and get further skills in different places. And I kind of saw this massive hole in the education system. Having come from a corporate kind of world where training was very formalized in every kind of aspect of what you did, I realized that when you were kind of on your own, or that you were in this animal care sector, the training was very, very different. So I set up a dog grooming training school using skills that I kind of introduced from different places, tutors who were absolutely fantastic, and set this school up to kind of bridge this gap a little bit. However, this is kind of where Sarah and I joined forces. So I'll hand over the gauntlet there.
Yeah, so in 2016, I think it was, I would say I came from a very commercial background, literally started and never went to university, and started working at 15 and worked my way up and was HR manager for an employment law firm was my last role, but very much involved in investors and people, training, education, but also dogs had been and always my passion. I didn't have pictures of take that on my wall. I had pictures of dogs and then all of the things. And so really, yeah. So really the dogs, and we've always had dogs in our world. So really, I suppose my education, I've been doing it on the sideline from having a real job, a commercial job. And then really it took off from there. I got a Labradoodle. I'm one of those owners, and he's now 11. And really, it was a similar story to Fern. I say I was working 50, 60-hour weeks. I'm still doing that, but 50, 60-hour weeks. And it was just becoming stressful. And I thought, no, I don't want to do this anymore. And so then actually Fern and I went to work for Fern as a tutor, having all the knowledge, skills of the commercial world, but also all the qualifications that I'd done on the side from that role. And so then really when I joined Fern, I thought, well, we could do this better and get it more formalized in the type of education that was being delivered. And so then literally we joined forces. I joined Four Paws Groom School as joint owner, if you like. And then, we went on this journey to be able to get the qualification at the time regulated. So we actually used another awarding organisation because we didn't fit Fern could go into this, but we didn't fit the City and Guilds mould at that point. Our staff, the people that were coming through, we just didn't have access to the type of models and the model dogs to be able to pass the City and Guilds qualification, but also being able to become a training provider of the qualification was quite restrictive, and the course content was quite restrictive. So again, we created this qualification. It turned into an absolute beast when we used this other awarding organisation, and actually how we quickly learned is that we couldn't control the narrative around it. We couldn't control the centres that were being approved, and actually I suppose how we developed the qualification wasn't particularly how it was being delivered. So then we went on the iPet Network journey. So we spent 2 years building resources, systems, going through Ofqual to be able to get recognised as an awarding organisation in our own right. So that is where iPet Network was formed. So we've still got Four Paws Groom School. We've got 2 other locations in Herefordshire and Shropshire, and the first one in Cheshire. We've got iPet Network, and yeah, so again, going from strength to strength, but I suppose our passion is education, but also the welfare of animals, and that's really underpins everything that we do. And I think really from the iPet Network team, we all have that same ethos. We're all animal-based lovers, and I've got degrees, qualifications in that. So I think actually as where we are, we continue that passion through.
I think that's kind of has been the journey really, in terms of understanding, spotting the holes in what we were doing, and looking that from a commercial angle. So when we got the daycare, the kennels, the dog grooming salons, between us at one stage we had 10 businesses, like it was a crazy time. We've tried to cut down some of that actually, because we're trying to streamline our services, because iPet Network really is our kind of main focus these days, along with the training schools. So some of the small businesses we've sold off and done different things with, but I think that it really is, like you say, maintaining at the heart that education is the key to everybody's success, but actually that there's loads more career routes out there than what were identified for us. And actually I think that what we've both kind of personally identified is that we've got good brains in our heads, but we absolutely adore these animals. And how do those two things fit together? And I say that usually it was always this thing of you were going to be a vet. There wasn't a word for somebody that is a dog groomer necessarily. It wasn't something that was ever talked about in career chats. But equally, we've opened up doors through iPet Network to a whole range of qualifications that can get you into careers which are, high caliber. You're talking hydrotherapy, physiotherapy, veterinary receptionists. We've got this whole suite of qualifications which kind of can build those bridges in those career paths. People like us that didn't know, particularly maybe when they were leaving school, what they wanted to go and do. But equally, it's now a route there that if you are just going out on that journey, you can go straight into it. And I think that the physiotherapy route is a particularly strong one actually, because again, it was always classically that you had to go and train as human physiotherapist before you kind of did your transfer into the animal side of things. And we've developed qualifications which actually take you on this direct route, which versus a traditional university kind of route saves thousands, not just in time, but in money, and that people can kind of get into this industry and really kind of hit the ground running. So to be able to earn as you build on those strengths, and you can go from the massage side of things, and you can build up to the full physiotherapy qualification. And by offering those routes, we're just kind of enhancing people's lives. And I think that is something which we're incredibly proud of, is that I've got 4 daughters, so I know they're all very, very different in their approaches to things. So I know that actually what I need to help them do is to look outside the box, and hopefully we're kind of offering that to a whole new suite of animal lovers who want to work in the sector.
Yeah, really it's understanding who those people are. So like Fern said about the vet physio, that is level 6, so it is degree level, but it takes you on the journey. We've got a level 4, level 5 and a level 6, but actually appreciating the learning barriers that are within our sector as well, and actually being able to create qualifications that are for the lower level, but then also for that degree level as well, and being able to have options for everybody within the industry. And actually that there is a place for real careers that you can be proud of, rather than people thinking it's just a hobby, because actually it's not. And that's where again our passion, even with the training the students through Four Paws, it's really getting them to understand the importance, but setting them off on the right sort of stall at the start, that they're not just charging £20 a dog and then they're going to get burnout, and actually that they have got a successful business and how that runs through, and really the way that we develop our qualifications take into all of those considerations. But we work with a lot of experts, consultants, to be able to have that balance of, it's the best qualification out there, and sometimes these qualifications we take 2 years to build, but again we know that it's going to stand the test of time, and actually there isn't qualifications that are out there that are 5 years old talking about a technique that is gone
proved to be outdated.
And that's what we're passionate about, and say that we want to be able to continue to do, which is
So you asked a very small question and we got a lot of answer into that.
I absolutely love it. And, you made so many great points as well, like particularly about the access to education for people with different challenges. Like I was at your Awards that you ran for the first time last year. Last year, was it? No, this year. January this year, 2025.
January. Gosh, it feels like lifetime already.
And it was like the success stories of people that had like struggled through school but now are like making headway, getting into their careers that they adore, and it's just amazing. Like it's such a ripple. Like you started off like, oh, how can I serve the dogs in this way? And then it's like, oh, how can I build this business in this way? Now it's a juggernaut, isn't it? And you're getting recognised for it as well. You're getting put forward for awards. Tell us about a few that you've been to recently.
Do you know what? We've got quite a few coming up as well. I think that, like you say, momentum has really kind of gathered. And actually, I think that one of the differences is us as awarding organisation is it is us. We are a small team. We like to call our team small but mighty. So the individuals in our team really make a significant difference. Some of our competitors are hundreds of years old, like we mentioned City and Guilds earlier. They're 150 years old. They turn over billions, and they've got thousands of people working for them, and that's our competition. But we're not a competition, because actually we're complementary, and I think that this is what we try and do, is we kind of work inclusively with those around us, and that's where the network comes from in our name. We really are proud of that. So actually kind of getting these awards and noticed in them, we get quite a few for women in business, because obviously we are a predominantly female team. So predominantly we've got a couple of guys in the mix in the background there, but we've also then obviously for Sarah and I, we are a small business, so we get lots of recognition around that, which is great. Some of the SMEs, but I think the one that probably particularly proud of that we won last year was the Welsh Awards. We did a really kind of like a unique thing with a qualification which we turned into a bilingual qualification for the Welsh market, and we worked with Qualifications Wales on that, government-based things, and we got a grant actually to do that bilingual kind of work through, and we won some awards actually in Wales for that, because it's new, it's not happened before, it's fresh out the box, but also that we are small and we're catering to those small numbers, but actually that individual kind of stance on things really makes a difference to somebody's education journey, but also to their ability to access. And I think that breaking barriers is definitely one of the things. I've got a daughter who's very dyslexic, and I'm just going to shout her out to say she did amazing in her SATs results, but it was because I was so pleased for her, but she had these amazing interventions as well, and that this extra support, and actually seeing that journey from her point of view and kind of like living it under the household makes me even more proud of everything that we're doing on the bigger kind of scale of things, because we are trying to break those barriers and open it up, because it's a fantastically rewarding kind of industry to work in, but equally everybody is different, and actually then we don't discriminate people. If people want to use us alongside another awarding organisation, we're like, yes, because actually let's give learners choice, because what works for one will be working differently for another, and let's not be negative, let's all be positive, and let's actually, if we all come together with that kind of mindset, how much more are we going to achieve for these animals and for these learners than us being kind of no, they're not us, we don't do things like that, we do things like this. That isn't the way to do it anymore. And I think that as business owners, that's kind of what we really promote, but also as educators. So
Well, I'm going to ask this question now in case we run out of time. You know, you've talked about being business owners, starting your first business at 22, coming into this amazing business. I know that you did quite well, Sarah. You're getting a really good pay out of Fern when you first started as a manager. That was your favourite story to tell me.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Negotiated away up to a grand old salary on that one.
I love it. I absolutely love it. So, if someone was new getting into business right now, what would you say your top 3 tips for them in this moment?
Yeah, I think we'll probably come at this from different angles actually, because I think that it kind of yeah. So if I go first with that one, then I think that Sarah mentioned it briefly before about price. It's one of my kind of bugbears actually when I see people kind of pricing by competitors instead of pricing for what you need as your lifestyle. And I think that from my point of view, I have got a very blessed life, and I am, you know, we're incredibly lucky. But actually, that is all kind of formulated into what we want and what we need. I've got 4 children. I've got to earn a certain amount to be able to feed all these mouths and to pay the bills and all of this. So pricing based on what her down the road's doing is not going to be the way forward. So definitely in the dog grooming world is one that we see all the time that we're like, absolutely don't do that. So price to your own business model would be my first tip there. But my second one would probably be just keep your customer service, keep your focus on the people that really matter. And I had a brilliant experience recently. I've been flying, I've had some lovely little trips away with my girlfriends on a hen party and the kids and things like this. And we use budget airlines, so we used EasyJet and Ryanair. And they're both budget airlines. They do a very similar service, but what made the difference was the people and the customer service that we received. And EasyJet, I have to say, we're you know, absolutely miles ahead in that. And it really came down to a smile, asking how we were, did we want anything? Just a very, very sort of simple touch points, which actually then made a very, very big difference when we kind of saw the other side of the coin, which was, you know, it felt unfriendly and they didn't have the products and things in stock. It wasn't explained properly. So actually that customer service and that kind of touch in communication is absolutely key. But my third thing, I think, would be thinking about the destination as well as the journey. And it's probably one that's kind of key in my brain at the moment because my husband's quite a lot older than me and Sarah's husband's sort of similar age. And, you know, probably in the next 10 years, I'm probably wanting to kind of ease things back to spend a little bit more time with him as he's in his retirement. So I've kind of got to look now. I'm looking at a decade plan of kind of what is the destination on this? How is this going to look? And I think that for us, we're very, as I say, very blessed. We absolutely enjoy the journey. We work with each other and like, I love it to bits. And it's absolutely brilliant. Actually, somebody who came to work, it just ended up being my best friend and my business and my colleague all in one, which has been fantastic. So enjoying the journey, absolutely. Get the fun out of it because you never know what's around the corner, but planning for that destination. What is that going to look like? So whether that's an exit from your business or whether that's you want a new house, you want a new car, planning for what it is so that you can get your business to achieve it for you. And I think that sometimes we're too busy in the day-to-day to look at kind of the bigger picture. So that would definitely kind of, if you can do your business plan from day dot and include those kind of personal goals, I think that would be some of my top tips.
Yeah, absolutely. And I say my husband worked in customer service, and like if he doesn't get a smile from a waiter or a waitress or whatever else, he's literally on it. It's like, so it's drilled into us. For me, really, it's putting yourself out there, be uncomfortable, because again, if you are starting a new business, you might have to do things that you don't want to go to, whether it's local events or little, like even doing stuff like this or going to on the local radio and stuff like that. But also is some people just don't showboat about themselves or shout about what they're doing in their business, and they just think it's dog grooming. But actually, we know what products we use, what's the service we do, how long it takes, and actually what that's going to do is give that confidence to the customer and being able to shout about it loud and proud, and this is what you do. And again, and explaining that, I think that's really important. And just to revert back to probably where we're at is actually the knowledge. Get the knowledge because you'll get the confidence, and being able to, don't just think I'm going to go and start up a dog walking business, I'll just go and walk dogs. There is so much to it, and it's like every single world, whether you're going into coffee, going into dog grooming, going into being a Ryanair waitress, air hostess, they're all different worlds. So actually it's finding that knowledge and going to the right places to be able to get that knowledge, because actually you're going to be successful doing it that way. And yeah, it's for us, obviously, it's being able to, we want to provide that resource of, okay, if you want to start a career in dog walking, pet sitting, physiotherapy, hydrotherapy, this is where you need to go. You don't need to come to us. Obviously, we want you to come to us, but actually, you're best to having that knowledge first, because you know then where you need to start.
Definitely.
100%. It's so valuable. And how can people best move towards you, whether it's to have your more podcast, whether it's to put you forward for awards, whether it's to find out more about a qualification that's suitable for them or their children?
So I think that personally, you can get us on LinkedIn. That's the best place to kind of reach out to us individually or together through the business pages there. I love LinkedIn, and I have to confess, I love the puzzle games. I've been driving Sarah mad, sending them to her. I spend about 5 minutes every day doing these little puzzle games. I love them on LinkedIn. So LinkedIn's a great one, but we're just actually in the process of building a brand new shiny website, which is going to take a little while, but that's very exciting. So www.ipetnetwork.co.uk. It's got loads of information on there for training providers, for centres, for learners, and like I say, there's more kind of coming soon for that.
Yeah.
And then and our team, again, we're always on the end of a phone. It's very, very simple, old-fashioned kind of tech. You can send an email, but if you go to our website, I think that all of our contact details are on there. And like I say, reach out to us on LinkedIn. We'd love to do more podcasts. I love this kind of stuff, because I just feel like it's taken time out of my day to have a chat, which I love. Absolutely brilliant, absolutely brilliant. And then yeah, absolutely, we're hopefully to attend some more award ceremonies.
Yeah, we've got three coming up, so hopefully fingers crossed.
Something's going to be in the mix there. And then we're going to look at doing the iAwards again next year. So that's really exciting. I think we're going to move it back to the summer months so that we've got a little bit more daylight and fresh air available to us. But that's also really, really exciting, because thank you so much for joining us. It was such a wonderful evening. Lovely to celebrate kind of everybody who's there. And then we also tie it up with our Powerhouse conference, which is for our training providers, which again, this makes us a little bit different. We stand out because we do things our way, and that's getting everybody together, having a bit of fun, but also kind of like peer-to-peer learning, which is so valuable.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
Yeah, that's a bit about us.
You've got such a motivated team as well. And while I've got a few minutes, I'm going to ask, like, how do you find a team like you've got? I think this is a real good one. Obviously, Sarah, you are from HR, so I'm sure you lean into that. But there's a magic that happens in your business. Like, all of your team members that I've met are like literally like shining. Is there something that you two do as leaders that we could take away as lessons?
We have champagne. To be honest, I think it's being honest, transparent, and deal with things with integrity. There are businesses out there that literally just go onto our website, copy everything that we've done, and then launch new qualifications and exactly the same. And I suppose what we try to do is keep our heads held high, be absolutely passionate about what we do, deal with everything with integrity, and
people that we work with have that same values.
Yeah,
I think the values is where it's the strongest, really. Is that actually there's a few of them that have worked with us for too many years. Actually, was it 16 years the other day? So again, because our businesses have kind of been on this journey, they've kind of crossed over brands and locations and different things. So Annette's been with me for 16 years, and actually that, again, yourself, warts and all sort of thing. And I think that actually, like you say, being very transparent, and that we are human, that we are people, and actually if we make a mistake, owning it and saying, actually, we could do that differently, we can do that better. But equally kind of, the giving that extra mile, I think is something that we all dig deep and do. And I think that we went to a show at the weekend, and we were there at just after 5 a.m, just getting out, getting set up, home again by 7 o'clock. We do dig deep, and I think that everybody works so hard because we all share that same passion and values, which is what makes us special. Definitely, we like I say, small and mighty, that's what we call the team.
Yeah.
with a lovely one of those emojis.
I love it. And just while I've got you here, I'll take a personal thank you for the input you've given to Canine Care Hub. You contributed towards Fetch More Clients that became Amazon bestseller last year. So I can always see how much you really do give, and give confidence back into the industry, just like your main goal is. So
thank you. no, that is lovely. And I think the thing is that again, sort of when we met you as well, and I think this is hopefully that really does actually sort of share exactly where we're at, is that it's from networking. We met you through another one of our colleagues, and it was that introduction. It's like, well, actually, how can we help and support? Well, let's read this book. Let's see what this is about. And actually, this is exactly what we're saying. We are absolutely on board with this. And actually, I think that one of my top tips would have been to get a business coach, because I think that for me personally, being quite young to only a little bit older now, that journey and that progression, you do need people to tell you and to direct you and to support you in that. Absolutely. And to have those people who have got you back, and like, we're incredibly lucky that we have each other, and we're actually very different people, again, who share those same values, but we come at things from totally different angles. And that actually for us, it works very well as a dynamic. But having that relationship then with somebody who can help coach you, I think is absolutely empowering. And I hope that anybody who does watch and listen to this and is unsure will get in touch with you and kind of, roll forwards with it, because I think you won't be disappointed. What you will do for yourself, for your own self-worth, and for your business's gravity will just be massive. So definitely highly recommend getting back in touch with Elle as well. So all in the room just there.
Thank you so much. Well, I think we should let the audience go so we can stop
Fabulous. Oh, thank you for having us.
No, thank you so much for coming on. Any other words of wisdom you want to throw out there quickly before we wrap this whole thing up?
Enjoy, get in touch, enjoy.
I love that. Thank you so much, ladies. You're the best.
Yeah.